Hello all, and let's see if I can get this video to work this time. I've tried to do this video like 10 times, and each time bad things happen. So, this video is about ratings. Yes, not star ratings. Almost did a video on star ratings. Another one on star ratings. Because some of you are not very bright. Some of you say stupid things. Sometimes, just sometimes, I think Elitist True Slayer needs to come out, and Elitist True Slayer needs to put some people in their place. Just sometimes. And he was just this close, but I decided I would do a video on this instead. So, here we go. On ratings. On the TV ratings. I did this last week. Raw was live. TNA was taped. I'm sure some people will say that was part of the problem. We all pretty much know what the ratings are. For those of you who don't know what the ratings are, Raw got 3.7. Average 3.6 million people. Fuck. And, Impact did a 0.84 rating, and with about 1,050,000 watching. So, I thought, when I first saw the rating, 0.84. Wow, this show got slaughtered. I figured the main event of this, even going up against Brett and Austin and Vince, would have at least gotten a 1. Oh no! Got a 7.4 or 7.4. 7.4 against a 4.3. Yeah, it got slaughtered. Not very good. I will say this, I thought Raw was pretty good. Raw did its job. Raw built towards Mania, which to me is what Raw is supposed to do. So I don't do reviews of TV shows because to me, it really doesn't matter, because if the shows are doing what they're supposed to, and this isn't me being a critic, by the way. Okay, this is just think about this in your own head before you start saying, stop being a critic, stop being a critic, stop being a critic. Okay. Notice, let's go back to Survivor Series. The build-up to Survivor Series was crap, and the Raws weren't very good. The build-up towards last year's Royal Rumble was not very good, and the shows weren't very good. The build-up towards this year's Royal Rumble was pretty good, and the shows were pretty good. The build-up to WrestleMania last year, not very good. Build-up towards WrestleMania this year, pretty good, and the shows are better. Even Ring of Honor, HDNet, when they weren't building towards anything, the shows were okay to good. Then they started building towards, the main DVDs and the internet pay-per-views. The shows got better. Even TNA, when the last time they were really building towards something good and did a good job of building towards it, was when they did the Angle versus Joe match at Lockdown. Did this really good build. The shows were better. It was better. See? It's not me saying it was better because they're building towards something. It was just because they were building towards something, it made the whole show better because there was a focus. There was a focus of doing something, and there was structure, and it was just a better show because of it. It's not me being a critic. That's not me coming on here and saying they need to build towards the pay-per-views or the show is not good. That's me saying if they build towards the pay-per-views, it just naturally makes the show better. Okay? My opinion, don't have to believe me, just saying that's the way I see it. That's why I don't review TV shows, because I understand that, when you're going to build towards things, sometimes a show might not be as good as, as we would want it to be. Because we're not going to get pay-per-view quality shows time and time again. I understand I have a realistic view of what we're going to get. So that's why. And I don't watch a lot of Raw. I'll be honest. I don't. I fast-forward through a lot of Raw because usually Raw is not very good. They don't always do a good job towards building towards things, and they don't do a lot of job, and I think that's why it's not very good. There is that, and, so we got Brett, we got Austin, we got Vince in the middle of the ring. Brett puts his little cast up on the table. We all saw it coming. It was all wonderful. I'm sure most of you popped for it. Proof again that predictability is not a bad thing. Yeah. Yay, predictability. Yay, predictability.
But I thought Raw was overall pretty good. I mean, I shouldn't say pretty good. It was better than last week's, but last week's Raw was. But but they did what they needed to do towards building. I thought that they did a pretty good job with Sheamus. Sheamus has to go over, by the way. I just want to say that Sheamus has to go over. If Sheamus does not go over, this is not going to work. He has to go over Triple H. I don't know if that's going to happen. The only other thing I would say about Raw is that I really would have liked to have seen Bret and Stone Cold have actually had some sort of animosity, some sort of confrontation where they had an animosity, and not Stone Cold saying, I respect you, this, that, or other. I would have much rather seen a face-to-face and Austin saying, you know what? I respect you. We did battle. I feel like I had my best matches with you. That said, didn't like the way you left. Didn't like the way that you left. Didn't like the fact that you left because you were the guy I wanted to beat for the title. Because I wanted to prove to myself that I could beat you. And show that there is some animosity. And have Bret have some animosity back. Have Bret say, I would never lose to you because you're everything I hate about... You represent the Attitude Era, and the Attitude Era was everything I hated about pro wrestling. And show that there was still some animosity there. I think people would have liked to have seen that. I think that would have been pretty good. And then you could have had the whole thing later. But once you get that there's respect, kind of like they did with Shawn and Bret, except not to that degree. But if you look over the ratings, and I don't have the quarters for Raw. Sorry, I tried to find them, couldn't find them. You will notice that the Knockouts segment was pretty much the most watched segment. Also, I happen to have Hogan and Sting and RVD in it as well. So who really knows? But Knockouts in the most watched segment of Impact. Where have I heard that from? I don't know. Every Impact for the last year or 2 years. I would love it for them to realize that the fact that maybe the reason why they draw is because they portray them differently than the WWE portrays the Divas, and because of that, it's different. And the one thing that is truly different about TNA works and draws ratings. Wow, who would have thought? But anyways, to the RVD thing, by the way, I've had to listen for a week now. A week of people talking about the fact that RVD did not get buried. Last week, I watched RVD come out to one of maybe the biggest pop I've ever heard in the Impact Zone. Literally, it was probably was, without a doubt, the biggest pop I've ever heard in the Impact Zone. It was insanity. The fans were going nuts. The fans were going crazy. It comes out this week. He still got pop, but it was about a fourth as big as what he got last week. So, yeah. He got buried, folks. Sorry. You did damage to RVD as a draw because you made him look stupid. And even by the end of this segment, I don't think he got any of it back. So you did damage to him, and yes, that is being buried, in my opinion. And checkmate is all I have to say to that. Let's see, what else did we get that didn't work? Well, of course we got the hair shaving thing. I don't think that worked. I don't know why they did a one show build, not even a one show, like half a show build towards a hair shaving thing with Mick Foley and Eric Bischoff. That was really crazy to me. And that's pretty much all we got. And we got some build up towards Destination X finally. And so pretty interesting stuff. I still don't think they did a good job of building anything up, as good as they should have. They should have been spending the last month building towards Destination X, just like I think that they've basically thrown with Destination X is going to be 4 pay-per-views under the bus to build up, Hogan and moving to Monday nights and Lockdown. And I understand that you needed to build all that stuff up, but you should have been at least trying to, as evenly as you could, also be building up the pay-per-views you were having. And I definitely think they should have went out there and tried to put on the best pay-per-views they possibly could. And I don't necessarily think they did that. I think they tried to do that with, to an extent, with with Against All Odds. I do think they're trying a little harder with that with Destination X, but I definitely don't think they did that with Genesis. And and really they made you not even care about Final Resolution. So but I think if they would have continually put on really good to great pay-per-views, by the time you got up to Lockdown, maybe you would have got a good buy rate, maybe you would have had a good attendance, and it'd be looked at as a success. And I think a lot of this that we've gone through over the last couple of weeks, people might forget about it, but it's just more evidence that the fact that they just didn't care about these last 4 pay-per-views really bothers me, because it costs money to put on a pay-per-view. Every company that has ever done any sort of business, pay-per-view has always been their biggest revenue stream. It's too important of a thing not to build towards, or at least try to use to your best advantage, and they didn't even do that. And so it really makes me wonder about TNA. But I'm not going to go on a full-on rant here about TNA. But you can look at the numbers. The numbers aren't good. The numbers aren't good at all. Like I said, I don't have the raw numbers. I'm really not going to rant on TNA like I did last week, because we don't know what they've learned. We don't know if they've learned anything, because this show was taped like an hour after the I think it was an hour after the ratings came out. So there was not really much they could change. But again, the impacts. Listen to me. The impacts. The knockouts were the biggest. Were part of the biggest segment that drew. So I don't think that surprises a lot of people. And again, folks, RVD, they really messed that up to no extent, in my opinion. Just go back, listen to the pop he got last week, listen to the pop he got this week. It's like night and freaking day. And don't say, oh, well, part of that was because he debuted. Really, compare just the heat. Compare the pop that Mr. Anderson got when he first showed up, when he's with the kind of the fact that he still gets a lot of response from the fans when he does his little intro, when he does his little catchphrase. People still go along with him. There's still more excitement. There's still more heat on him. All of those types of things. Compare that to what we got with RVD. So I don't buy that argument. They did damage to RVD, and I think this is a pretty good estimation that they did that. And and Hardy going over AJ. Yay. You put a guy over your champion who might be in jail at the end of the week. He might not be, but he might be in jail. Just saying, that's not necessarily a great and wonderful thing. And yeah, I would much rather have Styles go over Hardy. And the fact that match did so bad, just that really amazes me. Because I really thought that at least they would, do better than that. But anyways, there's the ratings. Everybody can see it. There's my thoughts on them. Like I said, not really anything big, because we already knew what kind of was going to happen on Impact, and Raw was, what probably needed to happen, built up, so everything was what it was. But there's the ratings. There's what I think of them. So, anyways, and just so anybody knows, just if you're wondering, WrestleMania this year, I'm just going to say it right now, has a good possibility of doing about 1 million buys, and maybe being the 3rd highest watched WrestleMania of all time. So, they've done a pretty good job there. With that, I'm out. Have a good one.